Hello and welcome to another scene set in the darkest of nights in Edessa. Tonight, we set our scene within one of the social pavilions of the city, back deep within Omar's little hidey hole, his rather modest little social club on the upper floor of his store. Tonight, he has two guests, both from his clan. There's that want to sponsor him with their patronage, right? And they find themselves in the same clean, clear-cut room that they visited before. This time, a bit more spruced up, a bit more verdant, summer. It's a bit more potted plant life. There's a little bit of indoor scenery. A couple of pieces of art line the walls. A couple more pictures than before. And then neat couple of wooden frames. And so sit you two, whiling the night away.
Yeah. I can imagine if Peter agrees that Irene has come along with Madeline because Madeline is now partially, in a way, her tutor / guardian / something.
Babysitter.
Slash babysitter. Little somber sitter.
Well, she is accompanying her, and
Let's not beat around the bush here, Pete.
Okay, I'm babysitter. No, Madeline has on the way here, and while they've been sitting here, just going over different stuff, both about the clan and about what Madeline thinks of and how she normally carries herself. There is some talk of both more general things and more specific things in regard to social interaction, shall we say. Maybe the reason that they are both in a somewhat social, it's not an Elysium, but it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, it does actually make quite a good place to teach social skills, as you get to test them out, and because this place is ran by a neonate, it's not like there's going to be significant consequences for you being rude here. So yeah, it makes a good place to test out one's social teachings and mentorings. And as you're teaching, the store itself actually receives a new guest, quite a regular one actually. The financial connections this individual has. You can hear the familiar footsteps going upstairs before the door is then knocked and opened. You see this lovely gentleman standing before you.
Irene will rise because it's a polite thing to do. And curtsy.
He gives you a nod, but bows before Madeleine.
Madeline goes up and curtsies as well. Just, good evening. Please, would you join us?
Oh, of course. You must be Sister Madeleine. I spots you at a little getaway a few nights ago.
Indeed, I seem to remember, but, well, I did not have time. And I am indeed Sister Madeline. And you are of Clan Toreador, yes?
Torador, yes. Grandchild of a Primogen.
I believe so. Please, join us.
Thanks. You will take a seat. He will pull out a seat for both of you, if it's not already pulled out.
And this is Irene, neonate of Clan, my clan, Clan Assembler.
Fledgling.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
Curtsy.
She will say fledgling and just. But we are all. eh, I believe that this is a good place to get to know people and
I see.
have a more relaxed atmosphere.
Indeed, this place is relaxing, if not slightly plain, but one can only ask for so much. Is this progeny your child, then?
Well, not specifically, no. In a certain way, I take great pride in teaching her, but strictly speaking, no.
Do you happen to belong to any of the city's residents, or have you taken her
She
under your wing?
does. She does indeed. She is the child of Lady Celine. But Lady Celine has many things, and I have, as a sister of our clan, extended well, my help to educate this young one.
Now I'm beginning to remember. He kind of his face shifts toward. Got so used to calling you Little Sombra. Irene. He says, "Yes, the keeper spoke quite fondly of you at the Elysium a couple months ago."
The Elysium was a very beautiful place, and I was very honored to be there, my lord.
It is the way of our clan. I'm glad you enjoyed it, either way.
I did very much. It was wonderful to meet so many Canaanites and to be able to interact with them.
It is a rare opportunity to be able to do so in such safety, but that is why Elysium is so valued. Shame I didn't get to meet you there. Either of you, in fact. Now that I think about it. I did happen to bump into the owner of this good establishment, but appears we may have been as ships passing each other in the night.
Well, there are hopefully many Elysiums for for all of us to be able to interact.
Oh yes, I'm sure they'll be up and coming again shortly.
Indeed. But is there something that would bring you to this establishment specifically? I hope you have. Well, I saw the host when I entered, but maybe are you looking for someone specific?
Oh no, I just simply had some business to attend to with the owner, and Thought I'd pay a visit to his new venture, as it were. Good to see the clan is supporting him.
Oh, it is a pleasure.
That said, you can imagine distinct differences between our clan's methods and perhaps it's simply due to the limitations of his resources. He kind of looks around. He says this as if he's kind of analyzing the place. You see him kind of look around the ceiling and gauge the area, and he does have a fair point. It's what's been spruced up a bit than before. It's still hardly. I mean, it's nowhere near the quality of the Elysium, but even then, it's still a little bit plain. It's almost as if it's missing something to just round out the room and kind of give it that sort of relaxing feel. Almost feels like you're in a bit of a not a panic room, but some sort of safe room. Looks a little bit too plain, even though there have been attempts to make it look nicer. And there is some verdancy to it. It's still not quite enough.
Well, I believe our host. I would not be surprised if I know many of my rooms have more than one function. If it was two decored, I suppose it would be quite a bit of work to clear it. But of course, I should not judge.
Well, one can find beauty in something that is not finished by using one's imagination. I've always understood that, forgive me for saying, but I've always understood that, especially your clan, my lord, has a very vivid imagination.
He takes a moment to take in your compliment. I appreciate the praise. Yes, we do tend to be drawn to colourful individuals over the drier sort. It has its ups and downs. Speaking of colourful, this fellow appears rather grounded, in a bit of contrast to your praise.
Mm.
I don't know if I may ask, have you heard the recent news? The Nosferatu coming out of their sewers to lay praxis to a nearby domain?
I heard something of that. What was his name? It was Weinhardt or something? I do not recall.
Salazar Weinhardt.
That's what it was. Salazar. Yes, yes. Oh, I did get the last name right.
Curiously, the child of the primogen of this city. One would have thought Mithril would have his own.
Well, there can be many reasons. The Nosferatu, like any other clan, have quite different there are quite differences of opinion as to where to go and who is indeed in charge. Well, that is what I have seen and experienced, but this holds true for every clan, I suppose. I do not see it as any different than if a Ventru or a Rouja or a La Sombra would claim the same.
We have lost Chris.
We have an intermission. An intermission is over.
Yeah, no, it was not Pete. It was in fact myself.
Uh-huh.
But yes, if it appears the cities without princes are being rounded up and now cordoned off. They're taking their time.
Well, it would be princedoms without too many people. I suppose if these people like their privacy, it is a good way of being private. If there is only mortals.
I wonder if it will mean a reduction in its own city's population of Canaanites. I know we are quite crowded within this city.
Indeed,
It would make
we are.
sense for the population to begin spreading out again.
Indeed, we are. Well, it depends how far the prince's reach truly goes. If the spreading continues at some point, one would think that there would be a very natural stop as to the expansion. If it is certainly no longer within the protective area of the city where you are not expected to uphold the neutrality or at least peace, well, then I suppose some cities would be of a quite select few people.
Also depends on the exclusivity of the domains. It's not unheard of for cities to reject foes of certain statures.
That's true.
Although considering Edessa's reach, I believe it will become more cosmopolitan than in the more central parts of Europe.
It has been so long, and I cannot say that depending on what you count as the central parts of Europe, that I have ever truly seen it.
Avoided it.
Right. That I have not seen.
It's most likely because the fiends do not wish you to see it. They are quite overzealous. A shame. There's much natural beauty there.
At the moment, when they are conducting a war, I can at least sort of understand. They do not want too many strangers.
Oh, I'm sure that's a fitting excuse. But one day it will be over, and I think we'll all find that the domains within that region will still remain within their perpetual state of emergency. But this time to keep out those that would wage war rather than smart, but still a frustration, particularly to those who are purely there for academic or artistic purposes. Speaking of artistic purposes, Madeleine, you would not have met my sire, would you? She'll be paying us a visit soon.
Oh, joyous. Great. I'm looking forward to it.
She should be here in a few minutes. I informed her that I'll be making a small business venture here, and she seemed quite eager to join me and see if there were any faces around. To which I can gladly inform her that there are.
Indeed.
There's a moment of silence from Giles as he settles down into his chair more.
Madeline will just lean in and just say, so, business ventures. We all must conduct business. But
Pardon?
me, what do you, have you heard anything of when the next Elysium is? I have been wondering myself.
I could not dare ruin my grandsire's surprise.
Of course.
I do apologize.
No. It is quite all right.
I know what it is to be teased and left hanging.
Hmm.
He looks towards Irene as if she should know what it means to be teased and left hanging.
She is smiling friendly and looks absolutely clueless.
That's the fledgling for you. Yes. Have you heard about the prince's search for a scourge? I hear I'll be resolving that soon, maybe even by the next Elysium.
I did not know that the previous scourge was missing, or no longer active. Do we know what caused this?
I recall when the prince originally took over, he took on the role personally. I'm sure you've heard of, well, there's a few names for it. My favorite is the Great Staking.
Well, I had not heard, but well.
OC, I believe you have. It's before the when there was the war between the Magic Circle and the Truez factions. The prince told them to stop. Everyone apart from the Toreador ignored him, and then he basically staked half the members of each clan and held them all hanging off a balcony in Elysium, and then told them to stop again.
Well, I have heard rumors, but well, do believe that uh, it is not unheard of for a hound to be scourged, if I am not mistaken.
Depends upon the age and competency of the individual involved.
Ah, of course. I mean, these understand that these are not things that are my expertise or purview, shall we say.
Who would you bet your horse on?
Hmm. Well, the previous scourge, as I remember, is in the city, but given the influx and the, as you said, quite crowded nature of the city, suppose there could be some better individuals.
My money's on Gerard, but it would not surprise me if Ivan was pushed forward, especially with Mithril's power play in recent nights. I wouldn't be surprised if Nosferatu was on the menu.
Well, I suppose Gerard would be a better fit for Scourge than she looks around for previous jobs he has held, and then she smiles.
I suppose we'll see. It's been an interesting race. I was surprised more people haven't gotten involved, though. A
Well,
court position like that does not simply just come and go. As I'm sure you're aware, once someone holds it, they tend to hold it for a long time.
well, Madeline just looks at him, just weighs it for a moment, nods, and then just, we will see.
We will, but even the youngest neonates who happen to chance upon a role even hold it for decades. I'm aware that elders tend to hold it for centuries, although I'm certainly not of enough age to determine the veracy of that rumor.
True.
Knock, knock.
Come in.
Stand up.
It's a woman you all know and love.
Oh,
Irene's met her.
did she?
Yep, she did.
Madeline has met her.
Madeline has met her. You both met her in the same scene.
Oh, wow.
You recognize this person as Beatrice. I believe you know her as actually a bit of a linguist and
Right.
and
Sorry.
as they say, a writer, an illuminator. You know, writing in that specific illuminated script. Illumination, I believe they call it in the Middle Ages.
Lady Beatrice, I hope this night finds you well. We were told that you might be paying us a visit.
Good evening. Good to see the night is treating you well. Have you been hosting my child well?
Well, I hope so. She just looks at her child.
There is that really visible moment where Giles is obviously questioning whether he should screw you over or not. Where there's just that very noticeable pause. But he'll nod. Yes, they've been Most amenable. He will stand and pull out the seat for his sire. She thanks him, sits down. Sits next to Irene. Oh, I have not seen you two in such a long time.
I have been I've been studying a lot lately.
Oh, what have you learned?
I have learned a lot about politics and etiquette and behavior amongst Canaanites.
Oh, interesting. Would you mind demonstrating what you've learned?
She will sit down and shut up. Sorry.
You learned to shut up. Wow. This does actually cause a genuine quirk of the head from Beatrice.
No, I don't think so.
In your actions, or you just like immediately clam up. She's not really sure whether this is what you have learned or whether you've just learned nothing at all, and she's just managed to somehow call you out on it.
My lady, I have mostly learned that one of my positions should be very careful on what to say and when to act.
You're very young, aren't you?
Yes, my lady.
Then that course of action is generally the wisest.
Thank you, my lady.
Of course, it should only be a few decades until we're able to join the rest of us.
She kind of swallows like, oh god. So long.
She actually like affectionately puts a hand on your shoulder and says, I understand it was daunting for myself at first, but you'll find after your first few years it becomes much more comfortable, a much smoother transition than you'd imagine. Give yourself some time to settle in.
I am trying to do that, my lady, and I am very lucky that I have some of the finest tutors that a Canaanite of my age can wish for.
Thank you, my dear. I hope to do my best in educating and showing you some things that can make one's nights a lot easier. But do not be so hard on yourself.
You are too kind, Lady Madeline.
It's not wrong to hold yourself to a standard, or all the more honourable.
I would refuse to be a disappointment to my tribe. Clan! Blah, blah, werewolf. No.
I'm rolling
Clan.
with tribe. You said tribe.
No, I said
No.
clan. Bad.
Roll initiative. Yeah.
I activate majesty. No. Yeah, I spend for Activate protein 2. Smoke of potence. She simply nods. And seems to be very approving and very affectionate towards you in general. She just needs to roll something.
Oh?
Yes, she does.
Oh, no, please.
I wonder what you're thinking of rolling. Stop killing me, god damn it. No. It's not that bad. Okay. Wow, she fucking does not care about anyone in the room at all. She doesn't. Yeah, no, she is not attracted to anyone whatsoever. You are all completely normal and mundane in her radiance. It's much easier when you become comfortable with your place. Contrary to what some would tell you, it becomes much easier to rise past it once you come to understand it.
I hope to gain that understanding soon. However, I understand that comes with time. And although I do understand that I have all the time to me, knowing that and understanding and feeling that fully is still two different things.
This is true. All I can advise you on is to take your time, as it is the one thing we have much of.
I will do my best.
There's no need to rush off into the darkness. Take your time, prepare, and have a torch handy.
With all due respect, Lady Primogen,
She's not
the
Primogen.
darkness. Oh, sorry. Blah, 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 blah,
What's your
blah,
canite law?
Canine lore. I have that stuff. I also have etiquette.
Okay. If you didn't have etiquette, I was just gonna say nope.
No, I have. I believe that's actually my highest stat.
Oh yeah, you don't say that at all then.
I'm actually looking it up right now. Yeah, etiquette 3. Fuck
Yeah,
you, I don't
yeah,
think
no,
that.
you wouldn't say Lady Primogen to someone who's only a lady.
No.
She's a lady ancilla.
Yeah, that's fair. I just mess up a lot. Blah, blah, blah. And I forgot my line.
Something lady.
Blah,
Melody.
blah, blah, blah. Oh,
With all due respect or something?
yeah. With all due respect, my lady, but I think of all the clans, ours should fear darkness the least and perhaps the most. But to go in with a torch would be, the way I've understood it, extremely unwise in our case. I will face darkness with myself.
Well, I shall always be here if you find yourself lost.
Any wisdom that can be learned beforehand would be a blessing.
I believe there is little I could tell you that your mentor is not already teaching you. Or your sire.
Sometimes even a different point of view can be an extremely welcome gift.
I suppose regarding your analogy and what that entails, my client has always preferred to unmask the unknown and articulate it, rather than face it down in an attempt to master it. We are certainly not one for hiding within the darkness. It is not our way. That said,
If I may
I
say
am
so.
stereotyping your clan somewhat. I know of many of yours who do not hide in the darkness, or do not use it for that purpose.
But I must say, if we are to talk about hiding, it would be such shame for those of your clans to be hidden away. It would surely be a crime.
Why, thank you.
Your clan has a good eye for beauty. One cannot deny this.
I can only hope it is not the only thing we have an eye for. However, if you wish to bear witness to the beauty of our clan, there is, I believe, Garza's guild hall is still open. If you'd like to accompany me, of course. You'd say us, because Garza's still in the room.
Oh, I would love to, if it is. I mean, we have our host with us, so. Wow, that's
Gals.
loud.
Yeah, what?
You were crackling.
Oh. But Giles looks a bit taken off guard by his sudden announcement to take them to his workplace. Well, quote, workplace. He's not a deer in headlights, but he is like, oh, we're doing that now, sort of face. If, of course, you desire to accompany me, of course. I would not dare impose upon you.
Well, I would love to, and I believe Irene here as well would be glad to.
Irene is sitting there, her hands folded in her lap, and she's looking at her knees, but her eyes are shining bright with enthusiasm that she's trying very hard not to show.
Well, I understand if you do you need a moment or two to prepare for us, or
Oh no, consider this sneak peek. It works already in the making.
oh, very well.
Not something I share often, but I could never refuse my sire.
Madeline will just begin to get up and smile. She'll just, well, we shall all focus it.
Irene gets up as well, a little too fast, perhaps.
Giles will lock his arm off his sire, and I'll begin walking down the stairs as the door opens. As you leave, get a brief glimpse of what I should do, just saying, thank you! I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Oi, stop eating chips. Crisps.
No one is eating crisps or chips.
No, well, sit
Do I
still.
look like I'm eating crisps or chips? What are you talking about? I'm a Kenite. We do not eat.
Shush you.
You foolish little fledgling. Know your place. But yeah, he'll say. No, I'm actually people just say. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Please come again at any time. He waves enthusiastically at you before pointing to a guard in a rather demanding fashion and says, "You, show them out. Show them some proper respect." He says to a guard who's clearly just gambling with the other guard, and he's like, "Oh fuck." And we'll show you the door very politely and bow and look like, "Oh god, I'm gonna get
reprimanded."
And yeah, you walk out of the bazaar and back towards the guild halls, the domain of the toreadors. Is there anything you do while you're walking down there?
Madeline will just, I suppose it means that we have a formal invitation. I mean, to your domain, of course. To the Perigion.
Oh, pardon, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Madeline would just say, "Oh, my Primogen, I do believe that this means we have a invitation to enter your domain. Oh, well, your clan's domain."
Did she say my primitive?
God damn it, Saskia, you. That was.
What's your etiquette, go, buddy?
3.
Damn it.
It's not my fault.
It is so your fault. Just,
she just makes bad things happen. We've already established this.
Would it be? Oh, I am sorry, I misspoke. I assume that since we are accompanying the two of you, that we are allowed within the domain. I do not wish to step over anyone's toes.
Oh, of course. We wouldn't. We treat our domain much like Elysium in most circumstances. So long as no ruckus is caused or powers are used, then without permission, then you are more than welcome to that's our domain, so long as we're notified beforehand. I do a lot of the administration, so if you want passage into or through our domain, I would recommend contacting myself first.
Of course. Thank you.
Cool. And I presume Irene makes use of what she has learned and says nothing.
Yeah, but eyes everywhere, and she's making sure that she's walking very close behind Madeline.
Irene is doing the smile and wave boys routine.
Yeah, she's basically Queen Elizabeth II right now. Just giving them the old Queen wave.
Smile and wave.
She's keeping an eye out for anything suspicious, though.
Yeah, you make your way down the cobbled roads of the bazaar, down through the merchants, just through the guild halls. To the guild halls, because they're actually neighboring domains, I believe. So do you go through your domain as well? Obviously, people go through domains all the time because it's not enough space, but you make your way into the guild halls, and as you begin to approach one of Gaza's many guild halls, he states that he does a lot of like before. It's not just K-Night dealings; it's mortal dealings. He does a lot of administrative work on. Would you like to roll me perception awareness as you begin to approach this particular guild hall?
We are in Dashboard 1, yes? Yes, we are.
Yes. Wait, no. Yes. No. Yes. Yes, we are.
We most definitely maybe.
Okay.
I've got 2. No, I got 1. I got
one because those 3 ones are white. So, well, that justifies an additional dot in awareness for Irene. I'm gonna have. What's this thing? So, and she gets. Okay, so I just need to roll. Okay, wow. So, to anyone with 1 success, which is 1 PC and 3 NPCs, 2 NPCs, there is a sort of... You get a very vague sense of discomfort. It's actually weird. There's a sense of... as you begin to close in on this guild hall, almost feels unwelcoming, in a sense.
Sorry, you broke up for me there.
Oh, sorry. The hall you're walking up to almost feels unwelcoming, in a sense. Almost feels a little bit eerie. For you, Irene.
Do I recognize the sensation? Just have to ask.
Pardon?
Do I recognize this sensation?
No. No, this is a very vague sensation.
Okay, fair enough.
It should also be noted, a lot of the time awareness is not distinguishable. That's more of an occult thing. Awareness is kind of a chill you get down your spine, or something that feels off, or some sort of vague sixth sense that allows you to pinpoint things. It's only really if you get a lot of successes you're able to pinpoint what's wrong and why.
Sixth sense!
Irene, you begin to head towards the guild hall. Now, it's a fairly warm night, but as you begin to approach this guild hall, it feels a little bit colder. You look upon the doorway to this guild hall. It's a fairly large doorway, a small balcony is off to the sides. What's weird is that alongside the banister of this balcony, it's almost as if dust has been settling there for years. The area almost feels a little bit oppressive. It feels a bit muggy. You can almost feel this kind of pulsing sensation on the other side of the wall. You can get this. It's almost like you're kind of breathing and skin, like you're obviously in very muggy air, but you kind of smell like almost as if you're in a field of corpses and like bloodied skin, and it looks strangely inhospitable despite its ordinary outlook, and you get this sensation of pulsing and almost like unwelcome activity.
Like, how badly does this feel? Like something that, like a sensation that is kind of similar to, like, I might get a vision any moment soon. Like, it's that kind of feel, sixth sense kind of feel. Did that make sense at all?
I think it did, but I think our ST has disconnected.
Frozen again. God fucking damn it.
like those 5 seconds where it might be delay. It's like tick, 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 tick. Okay, he's just gonna get that.
Oh boy. Come on, Chris.
Come on, Chris.
You can do it. You can do it.
Come on.
You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Papa needs some fiction.
You can do it. You can do it. I see something happening. I'm not quite sure. Oh, internet keeps dropping, he says. Do-do-do, 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 do-do. He's coming back. Apparently, he says.
Patience is a virtue.
He'll be back. He needs a few minutes. Damn.
Well, you're preparing for a good vision to appoint Irene.
I hope not.
I kind of think I have an idea of what's about to happen, but
We will see. I mean, there's a reason why I stated I was walking like really, really, really close behind you. So I could just grab hold of you and be like, something's up.
yeah, something like that. Well, it depends on if Madeline suddenly gets the same idea. So we're just holding each other. I'm guessing that's not going to be that productive when it comes down to it. But
This is true. This is true.
see, I would say I haven't seen anything that dumb, but it's close. I've done some things that were close to that. So his life.
I mean, when it comes to stupid ideas, I'm usually notorious for that. So, I mean,
Well, I mean, this is the thing I always remember. Like, sure, it's a stupid idea, but if you're the one guy who actually manages to pull it off, you look like a fucking genius.
mm-hmm.
That's just the odds are not
Always in your
necessarily too good. Yeah, so there's a reason why. I hope you're enjoying the commentary track on this pause. I hope everyone's seen the latest episode of Game of Thrones. It's good.
I have, actually. I have. Looking forward to the...
So, spoilers, everyone?
Everybody dies.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was at a